The Isham Saling House is located in Western Oregon. It is a grand historic brick home located on North Water Street. The Isham Saling House, built in 1880, is the largest historic brick house in Western Oregon, a town with unique historical distinction. Isham Saling was the lead merchant in Weston and the first farmer to prove the fertility of the land. He was also part owner of the Brick Hotel, 3 brick stores, and large amounts of farmland and livestock. The home of Isham and Melinda Morton Saling is an unusual and important Oregon example of the Italian villa style, as Belvedere structures were never common, and brick structures of this period are practically unknown. Prior to the death of Mrs. Saling in 1938, the fine house contained its original square grand piano, marble top parlor set, upholstery of creams and satin, tufted and brocaded gold. It was their long planned home, the realization of a dream they shared through years of hardship. Isham Saling, born in 1830, set out with a team of oxen from Monroe County, Missouri in 1852. He came to Oregon across the Oregon Trail. He reached Salmon Falls on the Snake River, where he traded his oxen for horses and began packing into the Jacksonville mines. After 3 years, he left the mines to try his hand at farming in Yamhill County, Oregon. It was there that he met and married Melinda Morton. Melinda Morton, too, had come west in 1852, but in a wagon train departing from Belleville, Illinois, under the leadership of William Johnson. Their group had encountered many hardships on the way to Oregon. Melinda was one of the few who recovered from when cholera struck the party. Many others in the group died. Finally, they reached the Dalles, Oregon, where the wagon train, nearly out of food, welcomed the offers of fresh fish and eggs. From the Dalles, they launched for Portland on flatboats. Melinda's family moved from Portland, which she described as a small village with stumps still in the street, to McMinnville. After their marriage in 1856, the Salings farmed for several years in Yamhill County before pulling up roots and moving to the Walla Walla Valley with all their livestock and worldly possessions. There they labored as farmers and ranchers until the hard winter of 1863, during which Isham watched many of his cattle starve to death that winter, and from then on decided to confine himself to farming, which he did with great success. Finally, the years of pioneering hardship were over, and the Salings, with their 11 children, began to realize their grand home. It reflected their newfound permanence and their growing affluence, for they built it staunchly of brick from the Weston brickyard, special ordering curved bricks for the window trim, and importing fine furniture, woodwork, door, and window frames from San Francisco and points beyond. A big square rosewood grand piano was shipped from Europe around the Horn to the West Coast and finally to the Saling House in Weston. The family had traveled to California to select the carpet, furniture, and upholstery. The house, with its high ceiling rooms, beautiful woodwork, vast halls, and spiral stairway leading to the rooftop cupola sun porch, was constructed after a Belvedere Italian villa in architectural style uncommon to the Pacific Northwest, but the theory is that it resembled the East Coast Virginia houses where Melinda was born. It was the showplace of the community, a fine brick home built by Weston's leading merchant. The Saling House, a fine brick home, is a long-term historic preservation project of the Umatilla County Pioneer Association. The empty house was purchased in 1976 by the Committee for Restoration, with money raised throughout the community and matching grants from the State Parks Division and the American Revolution Bicentennial Commission of Oregon. The house was listed on the National Register of Historic Places on January 1st, 1976. Initial restoration efforts have focused on repairing the house's exterior to protect its interior from weather damage. Work has been done on the front porch, wall structure, and grounds. The Saling House was constructed in 1880, and the 2-story red brick structure has a truncated hipped roof, which was surmounted by a belvedere, which was removed about 1947. The building is a symmetrical example of the Italian villa style. The house included a full-length front porch with balustrade, a large back porch with similar detail, an original small brick kitchen wing, and a nearby brick cellar. A double parlor with sliding double doors is located on the north side of the central hall plan. It was divided, according to a newspaper account in 1936, into a formal, seldom used front parlor and a room formerly known as the billiard room. The south side was divided into 3 rooms in addition to the kitchen located in the wing. The front room, which features a small fireplace with a segmental arch and marble facing, was the bedroom of Mrs. Saling in 1936. It is possible that the front room was a sitting chamber and the narrow adjoining room to the east was a sleeping chamber, office, or study. The woodwork included a large bracketed cornice and smaller porch detail, double hung windows, 2 lights over 2, molded raised panel doors, ornamented window and door casings, and a handsome staircase with a heavy turned newel and delicately turned spindles connected to a solid oak banister. A square room thought to be a dining room is located in the southeast corner, connected to the sleeping chamber, the central hall, the kitchen, and to a small space located at the back of the central hall, thought to be a pantry. A covered and pass-through connects this space with the adjoining kitchen. The upstairs is divided into 6 bedrooms heated by 4 stoves. 1 is located above the fireplace, 1 connects to the kitchen flue, and 2 are located directly above the parlor stoves. Both the first and second floor ceilings are 12 feet high. The attic space visible from the extant cupola stairs is large. The ceiling of the second floor is located at the bottom of the outside bracketed frieze. This area has 2 joist systems and was used for drying food. The heavy 4-panel front door is surrounded by transom and side lights, which originally contained etched glass. The tall sliding double doors separating the double parlor are 6-panel, 3 panels over 3. The interior surfaces are plaster over brick, except the north-south interior divisions. The major rooms of the house have ceiling rosettes and plaster cove molding. The Saling House has segmental arched openings on the first floor, similar to several brick houses in Weston. The upper openings are round-headed, as were those of the now missing wooden Belvedere. None of these openings have keystone detail. The brick for the Saling House was made several blocks northwest of the site in the local brickyard, which was partially owned by Mr. Saling. The same yard also made the brick used in all the surrounding communities. The brickmaster's residence, the Nelson House, constructed in 1865 and located on Water Street in front of the brickyard, contains the same curved brick details surrounding the windows and doors as that found in the Saling House. The completed house today, the historic preservation architect was hired. The front porch foundation and floor completed. Replaced most of the damaged windows and securing the house from further damage and vandalism. Equipped 1 room as a meeting room for the committee. This involved cleaning out a huge 2-story chimney of pounds of dirt and soot, along with pounds of beeswax and wasp nest. In 2013, the Isham Saling House was designated as endangered. We've restored and reconstructed the tall front porch post, placed through rods between floors in the attic to stabilize the building, shingled the roof of the root cellar. Acquired original East Lake-style furniture from relatives of Salings. Shipped from California, we received the settee, marble top table, chandelier, 2 chairs, walnut frame mirror, and more. The entire roof has been replaced. The front porch has been restored. The handrail has been replaced, and the window staircase, as opposed to spiral from the attic to the Belvedere, has been restored. Other donations for the Saling House include the bedroom coal stove, as well as items on loan with the Fraser Farmstead Museum in Milton Free Water. The city of Weston has provided water for the yard at no charge. The architect engineer was hired to survey the house and provide engineering study. Mothballing of the house to protect the windows and the house from further damage pending complete restoration. The current projects that are needed is to cover the cupola area and repair the shingle roof to keep the water from injuring the building. Cover the windows where windows are missing or damaged until they can be replaced. Rainwater disposal to drain the rainwater away from the foundation. Structural stabilization includes plumb the exterior walls, foundation work, and work on lower floor joists. Repointing and repair of the masonry on the exterior walls. Replace exterior doors that have been removed or boarded over. Complete the porches. There were porches on the east and west side of the house. Restore windows, examine all windows, replace and repair as needed. Restore cornice and brackets, reinstall Italianate detailing which distinguished the building in its heyday and include the original rainwater drains. Restore the historic cupola using portions that are left and from photographs. Install electricity throughout the house. At this point, only emergency repairs are being done since the foundation must be done prior to any further brick repair, windows repair, or plaster repair. In 2013, the East Oregonian covered the fact that the Saling House had been named to the Oregon's most endangered places. The Isham Saling House was built by Isham and Melinda Saling in 1880 in the town of Weston. The brick structure was recently placed on the list of Oregon's most endangered places. Weston's most historic houses landed on Oregon's list of the most endangered places in 2013. The designation from the Historic Preservation League of Oregon could lead to grants to help restore the cracking and deteriorating Isham Saling House. The Saling House was one of 10 places the Preservation League selected across Oregon. The list includes public and private properties, both residential and commercial, and spans rural and urban Oregon from the Pioneer era to World War II. The League considers each site historically important and imminent danger of being lost, so each will receive help from the League, including qualifying for a $2,500 grant to help start rehabilitation and reuse. Isham Saling, a prominent Weston businessman, had the ornate brick house built in 1880, but following the Great Depression, the house changed hands, upkeep fell off, and the house began falling apart. The Saling House Restoration Committee, a nonprofit dedicated to giving life to the old place, bought it in 1976 with the aim of one day operating the house so it could earn enough to pay for itself. That has not happened. Committee member Sheldon Delph said the house is on shaky ground. The foundation, he said, is crumbling and the house is splitting apart. Large cracks from the height of the two-story walls, and the brick in some places is pulling away from interior walls. The Saling House Committee in 2012 focused on keeping the porch from falling down, Delph said, but repairing the foundation is the top priority and comes with a price tag of about $300,000 in 2012. That's why getting on this endangered list is good, he said. The League really goes all out to help the places on the most endangered list, he said, and that will be an essential component of saving this architectural treasure. If the Saling House Committee can restore the place, the next step would be making it economically sustainable. Maybe the house could work as a type of hotel or guest home. How do we have it be something that people want to come to Weston to see, he said. And that is the big question. The answer could determine the future of the Saling House. There's more work to be done, which means the need for donations and grants. Your help is needed. We need volunteers to serve on the Saling House Committee. There's much to do, from helping clean up to helping to raise funds. We need donations. Even with grant funds, there is a required match of funds or in-kind match that is required. Your donation is tax deductible to the extent of the law. The Umatilla County Pioneer Association is the 501c3 nonprofit organization. The Isham Saling House Restoration Committee is a subcommittee of the Umatilla County Pioneer Association. For more information or to volunteer, you can contact Sheldon Delph at 360-520-3819. All donations will be acknowledged, and please include your name, address, phone number, and an email address. And you may also make a donation in memory of someone. So you can send a check to the Isham Saling House Restoration Committee, P.O. Box 256, Weston, Oregon, 97886. And there is a website for the house at ishamsalinghouse.com. We thank you for joining us.